Hi everyone, my name is Jianxing. Today, let me share with you the story of Lower Rouge River and how could it change from Brownfield to Greenfield. The Rouge River is a major tributary of the Grand River. Its watershed locates in southeast Michigan. Sadly, it is one of Michigan's and the Great Lakes' most polluted waterways. Upstream, dense urban populations have overwhelmed sewer and stormwater system, sometimes dumping raw sewage into the Rouge River. Near the mouth of the river, generations of pollution from heavy industry contaminated its sediments and made it unsafe for fishing and other recreational activities. The history of Rouge River is closely related to the history of industry in Michigan. Since the first furnace was built on the Zaga Island in 1902, the smoke never stopped. After the shortcut that connected Rouge River to Detroit River was enlarged, industry along the Rouge River relied a lot on this shipping route. The pollution increased together with the prosperity of industry. In 1969, the Rouge River burned because of spilled oil in the river. Though many actions were taken in this region after that, today it still remains serious problems. Overall, the parcels along Lower Rouge River are all industrial and residents live in miserable environment. Dense industry makes 48217 the most toxic zip code in Michigan. The Lower Rouge River suffers from every kind of pollution. The map shows the distribution of children tested with an elevated blood lead level, and from the line chart, we can see that Detroit has a shocking percentage of children tested with an elevated blood lead level. The cancer risk is extremely high in this region. The main contaminants in Lower Rouge River are PCB and PAH. The water quality is surprisingly poor near the mouth of Rouge River. People here have higher risk of respiratory disease due to the emissions from the factories. Residents in these regions have relatively low socioeconomic status, and they have to live in this heavily polluted place. Except all these issues, Lower Rouge River has some restrictions and also many potentials. As most people rely on the manufacturing, we cannot just kick out all the factories, and we must keep the main channel and dock still functional. Also, considering we are planning for the next 50 years, more extreme weather and flooding events, this kind of climate change issues are likely to happen on the site. The Lower Rouge River is actually still habitat for many species, and it even provides spawning area for lake sturgeon, a threatened animal. I analyzed the sections of Rouge River and evaluated several riverbanks from three aspects: stability, ecological value, and functions. The banks along the river are mainly vertical hard banks, which has little ecological function. Some riverbanks are just vacant with bare soil. Nearly all the banks lack accessibility. Concluding all the issues, how could we change this brownfield into a greenfield with self-purification ability, reanimated ecosystem, and recreational functions? Here is my main strategy. Conducting remediation via points, the factory, line, the waterway, and surface, and then recover the resilience of ecosystem to gain the self-purification ability. Usually, brownfield remediation takes years, thus I made the scenario plan for the whole process. The stage 1 from now to 2030 is mainly engineering remediation process. This step can solve about 60% of the contaminants. The yellow area in picture 1 are the factories that schedule for decommissioning in 5 years. Blue areas are the industrial lands that we cannot make any change. Green areas are the factories that are possible to transfer into clean industry. The second picture is about dredging. In the past, contaminated sediments and trash accumulated in the waterway and continuously contaminated the water. I will cap part of the area with clean soil, and the rest will be treated by bioremediation strategy at the next stage. The second stage will take about 20 years to reduce 20% contaminants in soil and waterways. Mustard, mushroom, and willow trees will be planted in different zones to intake the pollutants in soil. And finally, in the third stage, the area will change from a brownfield to this master plan. I enlarged the waterway to make an aquatic greenway along the original waterway and add in some purification nodes which also provide diverse habitats. The original waterway still keeps the shipping function and animals can live and travel in this new greenway. The aquatic greenway also provides more possibility for me to design diverse riverbanks. The old channel around Zug Island used to be a natural waterway. As large ships mainly utilized the shortcut channel and the primary steelmaking on the island had ceased, I recovered it by artificial wetlands with vegetated terrace. I also opened the mouth of the river and created shores to collect sediments from Rouge River. These shores can be self-growing and slow down the water flow, reducing erosion near the mouth of the river. The sediments will be partially collected by the shores, and cleaner water will go together with Detroit River. The purification node in Aquatic Greenway is made by 3 parts: riffles, islands, and terraces. Water will be partially purified when passing through the purification node. For the stormwater regulation, considering the climate change and extreme weathers, I designed a vegetated terrace which can deal with extreme flooding events. I also create a series of riverbanks to improve the ecological functions as well as the recreational functions. These banks meet the needs of people and cope with natural problems. Boardwalks, platforms, and other structures provide recreational spaces along the river. Terraces, stone beach, islands, and ponds help regulate the stormwater and reducing erosion. In 50 years, this heavily polluted area will recover from the damage and become attracting again. Species can be reintroduced back into the river, and people will really enjoy the Greenfield of Lower Rouge River. That's all about my project. Thank you so much.